Welcome to another episode. Today I'm joined by Mo, who is the founder of Mayan, one of the more popular bridges in the ecosystem. And Mo does not really do too many social activities, so I'm really glad that he's here and he's agreed to do this conversation with me today.
Absolutely, yeah. Although I'm not really active on socials, I'm a big fan of Li-Fi and your podcast. So it's my honor to be here today.
Awesome. I mean, so the Solana ecosystem has been pretty hot, right? Like the volume numbers are up. You guys have been killing it for the last 3, 6 months. So how are the vibes and the morale in the team right now? Like you must be feeling good.
Yeah, a lot of excitement, and of course, it takes a lot of hard work to keep everything together while maintaining our growth and while maintaining all the volume. We of course need to work on the next big thing. That's kind of the main challenge. But yeah, it's super exciting and much better than the days that we didn't have much volume. So it's a nice problem to have.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's a position of privilege. But let's go back to the early days, right? So I read that Mayan started as a hackathon project, and it's interesting that so many projects in Interop specifically started out as hackathon projects. Like Li.F was also a hackathon project, and a lot of teams started from there. So I want to go back to what's your initial story of why did you guys start Mayan, and what was the vibe of the ecosystem at that point in 2021 when you guys started?
Yeah, sure. So first, it would be good to start with my background and how I came to crypto, and because that's where the initial idea of Mayan and the way it currently works came from. So I was before crypto and all this, I was an algorithm engineer for ride-hailing companies. So my job was basically matching riders with drivers. And when I came to crypto, it was early 2021. And it was emerge of new L2s, Arbitrum optimism was coming, and also alt L1s. That back then they were calling Solana and other chains like alt L1s. And I saw that there's a lot of friction for users who want to move funds across these new chains. And if you look at the problem, it was like era pre-Uber era where people had to find a taxi driver themselves and then instruct him to the destination. So I saw that a similar problem here, and I thought maybe we can apply a similar solution. And what Uber does for riders is just it's a black box that matches drivers to riders magically. You just specify the outcome and you move from source to the destination. If you, it's really similar to the definition of intent-based protocol. So we implemented a similar solution, which user could specify the outcome, and instead of doing the bridging themselves, basically a relayer who is special for this job will do it for them. That's where the idea of Mayan comes from, and the reason that we call today we call our solvers drivers is because of this.
The Uber analogy.
Yeah, that's where the analogy comes from.
Nice. So you identified this problem in 2021, right? And the word intents was not that popular back then.
Yeah.
Today we call this the intent-based architecture, but I guess when you started out, you were just looking at it from first principles and how Uber matches users with drivers. You match users with drivers in your protocol, which are liquidity providers filling user transactions on the destination chain. Right?
Exactly.
So was this like a wormhole hackathon? Because you guys are using wormhole and so I'm guessing it's a Solana wormhole hackathon where you guys started.
Yeah. So when we wanted to implement this idea, we realized that we need a network or a settlement layer for that black box that matches drivers with bridgers. And to implement this, we needed a network that is fast enough while being cheap enough that doesn't create much overhead for the bridging. And instead of being a black box, it now can be a really open, transparent box where everyone can see how we find the best provider for the service. So after basically reviewing different chains, we realized Solana is offering these fast finality, high throughput transactions. So we chose Solana to build the auction, our auction, which is the core, and basically it is a hub that connects every other chain and enables people to move funds. And at that time, Wormhole was and still is the canonical message passing between EVMs and Solana. And luckily, we around the same time, Wormhole was holding this hackathon, so we jumped on it, and we won the first place there. And like everything was really bright. We were really excited, but we didn't know that the next 12 months would be super hard, super challenging. Everything started falling apart. Luna happened, FTX happened, and liquidity on Solana started to getting really low, and it was dark time.
That was a very tough first year, right? And the other point is, like, you guys started out as a hackathon project, and in crypto we see so many like hackathon projects start, but none of them actually go on to build a company from it, right? Like they are born as hackathon projects and they die as hackathon projects in the next month. So I want to know about like that experience to take it from a hackathon project to a legit company today. Like, how hard is that? Because 99% of the people are not able to do it, right? So you must have done something right, and that too in your first year, everything was falling apart in the Solana ecosystem.
So it's like winning a hackathon is like it feels like winning a lottery, right? And when you win, you get a lot of attention from people, from VCs, but then like things start to fade away. It's that moment that like many projects realize that it's not that easy. Like, just because I won a hackathon, it doesn't mean that I found PMF or we are going to build a $1 billion company. So you now realize that the reason why the many projects fail after like few months after the hackathon, they don't get enough attention, and they basically, when you don't get enough attention and you don't have a strong vision, you just stop working on it. You need both of these to like kind of continue through those dark first year. And we like, if I want to be honest, like we faced the same challenge. Like in the first year, there was a lot of signs that were telling us to just stop. It doesn't go anywhere. It's like Solana is this doomed chain that no one wants to build on. But the funny thing is that my co-founders once said was like, to be a great founder, you have to be dumb enough to like continue the work despite all the signs that tells you to stop. And because we had this, like we saw the vision, we had the vision that this thing could work. It's just because of the current condition of market, it doesn't get enough traction, but it doesn't mean that it won't work. Just the whole, similar to the whole Solana ecosystem. Like nothing changed after FTX. Nothing fundamental changed after FTX. But the whole Solana ecosystem continued to build, and we now see the result.
I think there's also the fact that you could see that bridging in the EVM ecosystem was working at the same time, right? So it was basically the fact that you guys kind of bet on Solana, and Solana was going through all of this like chaos. So none of the users were coming to Solana. So it was not like Mayan was not good enough because, or like Mayan did not have PMF because bridging made sense in the EVM ecosystem. It was just the fact that Solana was not getting this traction, right? So what was that moment in your journey last 3 years where you felt like, okay, the chain is seeing a revival and this might work out, right? Like when did you guys start seeing some real traction?
Yeah, it was like I know the exact moment. It was the late 2023 where a lot of Solana quality projects like Drift, Marginify, they launched the incentive campaigns, point campaigns, and we already set up our SDK and widgets, and they integrated Mayan. So when people wanted to use Drift, first thing they need to do is to move assets from EVM to Solana, and that's where Mayan started to getting traction. And we saw the volume is going high as the traction of Solana ecosystem goes higher, and yeah, that was the moment.
I mean, I think in October 2023, there was the Bonk airdrop, and there was also like this Solana phone. And suddenly everyone was talking about Solana. The prices started going up. I think Sol also started trading much higher. It went up to like $100 in a few months or something. So did you foresee like this type of demand for Solana? Like since 2023 as well, that was one level, but like I feel like the last 12 months have just been another scale of volume and traction, right? So did you actually foresee this type of demand for Solana this cycle?
No. And if anyone says they could foresee this, they are either coming from future or they are lying. It's, we couldn't see it. Like if our plans for this kind of volume was at least a year from now, and we were really surprised by this traction that Solana got, because of, obviously, one of the main reasons was meme coins, and we currently have demand on some days that surpass our supply, like on the Trump day, and no one could see this. Yeah, but the thing is, like when the what's like VC says fundamentals are there, it's you just need for the right wind to blow it up, so you can say it, right?
Yeah.
It's just, we saw that like whenever we developed a contract on Solana, we saw how superior it is compared to EVM chains, how it can offer parallel execution, and we saw this fragmentation in EVM ecosystem that we noticed it's gonna hurt them. Like Solana, it's funny. Like at the DevCon, it was like in Istanbul 2 years ago, and I met a guy. He was building on EVM chains. I cannot name the project. It was a famous project, and he asked me, well, what do you build? I said I built Mayan. And he said, on what chain? He said, I said, I'm building it on Solana. And he replied, oh, but Solana is only one chain. Why don't you build on EVM chains where you can deploy on many networks? And I said, it's the exact problem of EVM network. Everyone is spinning up a new chain and gets some of the liquidity from the mainnet, because obviously because the mainnet cannot handle the number of transactions and the throughput that is needed by users. So that's why we kept building, and it was not because we saw that Trump would one day launch a token or Memecoin would get this much traction.
By the way, like as a builder in Solana, does it bother you that so much volume is coming from meme coins, or are you just like immune to the fact that it's meme coin volume? I mean, it's a part of speculation. It's an asset. People want to trade it, so you're unbiased.
Yeah, like personally, I obviously rather that the volume goes to DeFi projects rather than be gambled on meme coins. But yeah, it is what it is. Like.
I mean, yeah. So even the president of America launched a meme coin, and a lot of people in the interop ecosystem were shaken that weekend, right? Like I think it was a Saturday, probably, and suddenly the volume spiked because Trump launched a meme coin on Solana, and literally everyone was just trying to send a transaction that day, and then like nothing was going through. Bridges hit like liquidity limits. So as a bridge builder, who was trying to keep up with like this load of transactions of people trying to move from EVM chains to Solana to trade this new meme coin, what was going through in your team? And it was a weekend to make matters worse.
Yeah, it was weekend, and just I live in a European time zone, right? But to sync with EST time zone, I usually work until like 4 a.m. and then sleep and wake up like 10 or 11, right? So that, and at that day I was finishing up the work and was getting ready to sleep, and then realized the spike in number of transactions and the volume. At first I thought, okay, it's just a spike. Someone launched a new meme coin probably, and they placed probably Mayan widget on their website. So, but as the search continued, I kind of woke up the whole team, and I pulled up Twitter and saw what happened. Again, I was like, okay, it's just probably someone hacked the Trump's account, and they're gonna take it down in few minutes, if not hours, and it will end soon. But the next 24 hours, where I couldn't sleep, we were working and scaling every piece of infrastructure on Mayan, because like in the best scenario, I was expecting, like before this, I was expecting like our daily volume would reach $100 million, and we were ready for that. Like infrastructure, we were not ready for $185 million. So we scaled everything, but despite our efforts, we couldn't meet all the demand. Like our solvers couldn't rebalance because they hit CCTP and token bridge limits, and it was a really frustrating experience. While we were really excited, like for the volume that is going up, we it was a mixed.
I think
feeling.
it was the first time where I saw like CCTP hitting limits every other hour, basically. Because like I think we were all in a Telegram group, so we were excited by the fact that okay, there is volume, but all of us were like, how do we handle this load, right? Because on the one hand, there's like jumper transactions coming through, there's phantom transactions coming through, and phantom were hitting their own limits. So I want to know, like, what does it mean to actually scale bridging infrastructure in real time at that point? Like, is it just liquidity that you guys have to manage, which of course you have to because you're using solvers? Like, what else is there? What else do you need to take care of?
Yeah, so that's the kind of the bottleneck, the thing you mentioned, the liquidity and balance of solvers is the bottleneck. Like other things are easy to scale relatively. It's just Web2 software engineering. You just as long as the backend and the infra is scalable, you just throw more resources to the cluster, and everything scales smoothly. The hard part is the liquidity, and that was the bottleneck.
But like, if something like that happens again today, is there something different that you would do, or would we experience the same things again?
Yeah, it's we worked with our partners at Wormhole, so now Wormhole notionals are much higher today, and we can like our solvers wouldn't have problem with rebalancing. Also, a Circle team, I'm sure they learned a really hard lesson that their product is really crucial for the ecosystem, especially during these moments. And I think the whole ecosystem is ready for the next Trump token.
Nice. I think that's the best part about these events, right? Like, sure, we hit some limits during that time, but anyway, we like you said, you were prepared for 100 million, but you ended up facilitating 185, which in general is a big leap ahead. But for the next time, we're like so much better prepared. So I think that's how we scale with experience, right?
Yeah.
So that's a good thing. But with Solana seeing so much traction and events like the Trump meme coin and everything, people realize that okay, there is no world now where you cannot support Solana. So even in the interop ecosystem, we're seeing more and more bridges at least adding Solana to their roadmap. Like there are only 5 or 6 bridges today that support Solana, but we know that the other bridges are coming. They're working on it, right? So how do you see that sort of competition playing out? Like, do you see that as a good thing that the market is expanding, or do you see that as okay, they're going to be competitors in the same ecosystem now?
Yeah, so it's first, it's good for Solana that I think Solana needs more bridges and easier way for people to onboard. And like we like competition, but there's one thing that these bridges each have their own separate line of liquidity, right? And at like the bridges are really similar to Web2 marketplaces. You on one side you have demand, and on the other side you have liquidity providers that meet the demand. And because of the network effect of these marketplaces, at the end, I think not more than 2 or 3 bridges would become fully sustainable, and the others would bleed out. And it's really just it happened in Web2 industry with in ride hailing, in things like Airbnb, where only 1 or 2 player can create this network effect and eat the whole share. And it's a good thing. It's not a bad thing, because if we have 100 bridges, let's if you see the extreme cases, like if you have 100 bridges, that liquidity is fragmented between them, then the prices and the way that people can move funds would be much harder, compared to you have 2 or 3 strong bridges with strong liquidity that are competing with each other and offer the best experience for users.
I think so. How I see it, I agree with your points, and there are 2 main things that they still have to overcome, right? Like one, supporting Solana is not that easy, because it takes like a specific skill set of developers, and it takes time to build it out. Like even at LI.F, it took us a lot of time to support it, and it's one thing to support it; it's another thing to support it at scale and like make it a reliable, full-fledged, feature-rich experience, right? So it's going to take time, and then the other thing is like. All of these bridges are today EVM focused, so their users are also largely on EVM chains, right? So they have to kind of bootstrap that user network on Solana. So like you said, it's possible that even for LI.F and Jumper, like it took us a while to actually get Solana users to recognize that okay, Jumper supports Solana, or like we have Phantom today that uses Li-Fi. So there are network effects through that. So it's very difficult to get new users in a new ecosystem and like build a presence for yourself. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out over the next year.
Yeah, definitely.
And then, okay, so how do you see like product differentiation in this ecosystem? So is it just majorly liquidity and how many market makers any protocol can support, or is there? Do you think there's like more to product differentiation in terms of bridges today?
Yeah. So like today, like expectations from bridges is the bar is really high. Everyone wants wants to bridge in and out in seconds with minimum fees, right? Uh, and the main differentiator in long term is whether the bridge can scale or not. Like we have seen a lot of these pseudo bridges that are basically are simply are unregistered exchanges uh, that basically you just send your assets to a wallet and they just deliver it on the destination chain. These models usually cannot scale, and uh, like I think the number of the real protocols that offer true decentralization are much fewer than the number of bridge brands that are out there. And I think only those are going to survive the next bear market.
Makes sense. It'll be like it'll be interesting to see because I feel like the last bull market bridges launched and like saw some traction early on. Then there was a bear market, and like now again there's a bull market. People are seeing volume, but a year later it won't be the same. And then not a lot of the teams actually are able to survive that. So again, like we'll see when the market turns. But let's see how that plays out. Like, so what's your aspiration for Mayan? Like a year from now, what sort of milestone do you guys want to achieve? What's your North Star?
Yeah, it's like the way I see Mayan is really as a marketplace where people can just specify their ideal outcome, and that demand is gets fulfilled in a few seconds. This demand, like today, is having USDT on Solana. Tomorrow it can be having an NFT on Solana, or having a position, a lending position on Camino. So it can expand as long as the asset is tokenized. It's not limited to only ERC20 or SPL tokens. And what I want to see and we work for is to become a hub for trading. As long as the assets are tokenized, they can be auctioned, and auctioned are the best way to find the best provider. Like currently, many intent-based bridges are just cross-chain limit orders. You just create an order with a specific field price, and the order gets executed at the same price. This creates, while this works, it creates a big problem. If that order is profitable, all of the solvers in the network are going to compete to fulfill that order. And let's say you have 10 solvers, 9 of them would fail and just pay on transaction fee. It's just really similar to MEV problem. And one of them will fulfill the order. So next time they're going to they want to fulfill the order, they would consider higher margins. And basically, user pays for a competition that doesn't benefit them much. In Mayan, at its core, we use auction mechanism to find the best provider, and user demands always finds the best driver. That's the vision, and that's what we are working toward.
Awesome. Like, I hope you guys achieve your vision, and I hope Li-Fi and Jumper and like all of us can play a part in that journey. And thanks a lot for coming on. Like, I love the honesty and the transparency and the clarity with which Like you spoke about everything. So I hope that we get to see more of you on the social side. If not tweeting on Twitter, then at least at conferences or more video recordings. But thanks a lot for coming on.
Yeah, sure, definitely. It was awesome talking with you, and thanks for having me here. I hope we can have a second session.
Awesome.